announcement of the demise of Dr. Rohit Nyemu Bidesi, former Member of Parliament, on Thursday, 20th of June 2024, at the age of 82, and Dr. Muhammad Siddiq Chedi, former Member of Parliament, on Sunday, 23rd of June 2024, at the age of 73. Dr. Bidesi was born on 2nd of November 1941 in Floreal. He studied medicine at Wadia College, Pune, and at Kharkov State Medical Institute. He subsequently began his career as medical officer at the Ministry of Health. Dr. Bidesi's political journey started in 1976 when he stood as candidate for the general election under the banner of the Independence Party in constituency number 16, Vaka and Floreal. He was elected as first member. In the year 1977, he was designated to serve on the Public Accounts Committee. In 1982, Dr. Bidesi was again elected as first member, constituency number 16, Vaka and Floreal, under the banner of the MMM-PSM Alliance. On 18th of June 1982, Dr. Bidesi was appointed Minister of Works, a post which he held until June 1983. In August 1983, Dr. Bidesi contested the general election in the same constituency, Vaka and Floreal, under the banner of the MSM Labour Party Alliance, and was elected as third member. He was appointed Minister of Works in September 1983. He resigned as Minister in July 1986, but kept his seat as Member of Parliament until the dissolution of Parliament in July 1987. In 1995, Dr. Bidesi stood as candidate of the MSM-RMM Alliance at the general election in constituency number 14, Savannah and Black River, but was not elected. He also contested the 2014 general election in constituency number 16, Vaka and Floreal, as an MMSD candidate, but was not returned. In 2016, Dr. Bidesi founded a new political party, the Parti Socialiste. Mr. Speaker, sir, may I request you to kindly direct the clerk to convey the deep condolences of the Assembly to the bereaved family, in particular to his children.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the opposition, I associate myself with the tribute paid by Honorable Prime Minister to the late Dr. Rohit Bidesi. Mr. Speaker, kindly direct the clerk of the National Assembly to convey our deep condolences to members of the bereaved family.
Honorable members, I associate myself with the tribute paid to the memory of late Dr. Rohit Nyemu Bidesi, former Member of Parliament, by the Honorable Prime Minister and the Honorable Leader of Opposition, and I direct the clerk to convey the deep condolences of the Assembly to the bereaved family. Next announcement.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, sir, Dr. Chedi joined active politics after his medical studies in Dublin. In the year 1991, he stood as candidate for the general election under the banner of Alliance Parti Travailliste PMSD in constituency number 19, Stanley and Rosil. He was not elected, but was nominated to serve the then Legislative Assembly under the best loser system. In December 1995, Dr. Chedi contested the National Assembly elections again in constituency number 19 under the banner of Alliance Parti Travailliste MMM and was elected as second member. On 30th of December 1995, Dr. Chedi was appointed Minister of Works, a portfolio which he held until 1st July 1997. On 2nd July 1997, he was assigned the portfolio of Minister of Public Infrastructure, which he occupied until October 1998. From October 1998 until August 2000, Dr. Chedi was the minister responsible for the Ministry of Environment, Human Resource Development and Employment, which was later restyled as Ministry of Environment and Urban and Rural Development. At the September 2000 National Assembly elections, Dr. Chedi was re-elected as second member in constituency number 3, Port Louis Maritime and Port Louis East, under the banner of Alliance Parti Travailliste PMXD. In September 2004, Dr. Chedi resigned as member of the National Assembly. Dr. Chedi contested the 2005 National Assembly election in the same constituency number 3 under the banner of Alliance Sociale, but he was not elected. From 2006 to October 2008, Dr. Chedi served as president of the Mauritius Ports Authority. In 2014, Dr. Chedi ran for the National Assembly elections in constituency number 2, Port Louis South and Port Louis Central, under the banner of Mouvement Travailliste Militant, but was not elected. Mr. Speaker, sir, may I kindly request you to direct the clerk to convey the deep condolences of the Assembly to the bereaved family, in particular to his wife and children.
Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the opposition, I associate myself with the tribute paid by Honorable Prime Minister to the late Dr. Chedi, former member of the National Assembly. Mr. Speaker, kindly direct the clerk of the National Assembly to convey our deepest condolences to members of the bereaved family.
Honorable members, I associate myself with the tribute paid to the memory of late Dr. Chedi, former member of Parliament, by the Honorable Prime Minister and the Honorable Leader of Opposition, and I direct the acting clerk to convey the deep condolences of the family to the bereaved family. Thank you. Honorable members, I have one announcement for the time being. I wish to draw the attention of the House to a press article which appeared in Daily Express of Friday, 21st June 2024, under the caption, Committee of Supply, Budget 2024-25, Présidence Nazurali boycotté. The said press article purports to cause aspersions on my impartiality as a speaker in the discharge of my duties and has also caused doubts on my discretionary powers of requesting Honorable Ashley Tu to chair the Committee of Supply in his capacity as Deputy Chairperson of Committees in accordance with the provisions of Standing Order 8.2. Honorable members, I view this matter with serious concern as this amounts to an external interference and an invasion of the privileges of the House and that of the Speaker in the discharge of his functions. I have therefore deemed it fit to set records straight. Honorable members, the House will recall that Honorable Ashley Tu was elected Deputy Chairperson of Committees at the sitting of Tuesday, 26 March 2024 by the Assembly, pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 7, and has not had the opportunity of chairing any Committee of Supply until Tuesday 18 and Wednesday 19 June 2024. Honorable members, it is clear from the provisions of Standing Order 8.2 that that the discretion of giving the chair to the deputy chairperson of committees for chairing the committee of supply rests with the speaker, the more so that the duties of the deputy chairperson of committees is to chair the committee of supply. The House may also wish to note that on numerous occasions, when the Speaker was chairing the Committee of Supply, questions have been put to the Honorable Prime Minister as to the number of committees chaired by the Deputy Chairperson of committees, thereby prompting the Speaker to take this decision in all fairness of giving the opportunity to Honorable Ashley to chair the Committee of Supply. Therefore, the issue of boycotting the Deputy Speaker from this exercise does not arise. Although the contents of the said press article potentially amount to contempt of the Assembly under Section 6(1)(s) of the National Assembly Privileges, Immunities and Powers Act, I am nevertheless making an appeal to members of the media to exercise caution while publishing articles which may be misleading and tantamount to causing doubts on the democratic processes of this august Assembly. I thank you.
Papers have been laid. Questions?
Honorable Leader of the Opposition.
Thank you very much. Mr. Speaker, I've given notice to ask I've given notice to a private notice question to ask the Honorable Prime Minister, Minister of Defense, Home Affairs and External Communication, Minister for Rodrigo Outer Island and Territorial Integrity, whether in regard to the proposed setting up of a graphite refinery by Nexos CSPG Mauritius Limited in the port area, he will state A, the reasons as to why the said project was not entertained at the GINFE and the date thereof. B, if there is any unfavorable report against the project in the port area. C, the security risks, if any, to the neighboring population, the factories, and the Ramsar site. And D, the total estimated cost of the project and expected annual return thereof.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I am informed by the Economic Development Board that Nexos CSPG Mauritius Limited, a subsidiary of Nexos Materials Incorporation, is exploring the possibility of setting up a battery anode facility in an existing building of 14,000 meters square at Mauritius Freeport Development Zone 5, Mer Rouge. The project involves the purification of 8,000 tons of flake graphite per annum to obtain 3,600 tons of spherical purified graphite or coated spherical purified graphite per annum. The subject site is of an extent of 33,840 meters square and has been leased to the promoter by Mauritius Freeport Development Limited. A conditional lease agreement has been signed in November 2023, but will take effect once the promoter receives all the necessary permits and clearances, including an EIA license. The promoter intends to expand its capacity to 14,400 tons per annum of coated spherical purified graphite in the second phase. The project will consist of an effluent treatment plant, a solid waste storage area, an acid neutralizer storage area, a heavy fuel oil and liquefied petroleum gas storage area, a firefighting pump room, cooling towers, and offices and mess rooms. Upon arrival of containers from the Mauritius Container Terminal, the bagged and containerized flake graphite will be transported to the Freeport zone for processing. The promoter is engaging with Mauritius Freeport Development Limited to act as logistics provider for the setting up of next sources business activity. It will entail the processing of graphite flakes imported from Madagascar prior to re-export of spherical purified graphite and coated spherical purified graphite to Japan, the United States, the European Union for manufacturing of batteries for electric vehicles. Nexos is planning and forecasting 14,400 tons per annum of coated spherical purified graphite. The processing plant will consist of 4 lines producing 3,600 tons per annum. Initially, the promoter also apprised that annually water usage will be up to 80,000 cubic meters and 21.4 million kilowatt hour of power supply respectively. Recently, Nexos is working on a new methodology which is under progress for recycling of the overall water from the processing plants to avoid liquid wastage and discharge. Mr. Speaker, sir, with regard to part A of the question, I am informed that a project brief was submitted to the Economic Development Board on 20th December 2022, and initially the location of the project was at Jinfei Industrial Site, but so far no application for a Freeport certificate has been submitted by the promoter to the Economic Development Board. I am also informed that the Honorable Minister of Environment, Solid Waste Management and Climate Change and the Minister of Labour, Human Resource Development and Training had a meeting with the inhabitants of Bejitombo in the former's office in the presence of representatives of his ministry on 25th August 2023 to hear grievances raised regarding the nature and location of the proposed activity at Jinfei. Following complaints from the inhabitants of Bejitombo, the promoter changed the project location to Mer Rouge. Mr. Speaker, sir, with regard to part B of the question, the Mauritius Freeport Development Company Limited holds a lease from the Mauritius Ports Authority for carrying out Freeport activities over a plot of land declared as Freeport Zone 5 in the port area. The Mauritius Freeport Development has developed its lease site with building facilities which the company rents to promoters for carrying out storage and light industrial activities. At the lessee's request, a meeting was held by the Mauritius Ports Authority with representatives of the Mauritius Freeport Development Limited, the Economic Development Board Limited, and the promoter, as well as their consultants, on 18th of September 2023, in connection with the project proposal to set up a battery anode facility within part of the leased site. The following observations were made in respect of this proposal. 1. A significant land area of around 3.4 hectares, including 1.4 hectares of building, representing more than 10% of the lease site, will be required for the implementation of the project. 2. The process will involve manipulation of dangerous products, and the proposed development will require tanks to store significant amounts of acids, as well as water treatment plant, and a 25-meter high chimney. 3. Less than 50% of the imported grain-sized raw material, that is the graphite, will be processed into the final powdered product, indicating a high percentage of losses and significant source of dust emission. And 4. The facility plant is intended to be constructed adjacent to the Mauritius container terminal and within a radius of less than 350 meters from the rivulet Mer Rouge bird sanctuary, a declared Ramsar site, and an environmentally sensitive area. In view thereof, on 20th of March 2024, the Mauritius Ports Authority informed the Mauritius Freeport Development that the prevailing terms and conditions of MFD's lease is inadequate or inappropriate for allowing the implementation and monitoring of the proposed development of such magnitude and environment sensitive nature. The need for separate industrial lease for the project was therefore warranted. Mr. Speaker, sir, I am informed that under Section 20 of the Environment Protection Act 2002, a public notice was issued by the Ministry of Environment, Solid Waste Management and Climate Change on 21st of March 2024 regarding an application for an EIA license submitted on 13th of March 2024 by NextSource CSPG Mauritius Limited for a proposed battery anode facility. The location of the proposed undertaking is at Mer Rouge. The closing date for public comments was 13th of April 2024. On 27th of March 2024, the Ministry of Environment, Solid Waste Management and Climate Change requested the Mauritius Ports Authority to submit its views for this proposed undertaking. The Mauritius Ports Authority informed the Ministry of Environment, Solid Waste Management and Climate Change on 24th of April 2024 that the siting of the proposed undertaking of such complex chemical and industrial project within the Freeport zone is not in line with the recommended land use plan of the area. Mr. Speaker, sir, with regard to Part C of the question, in view of the scope and scale of the proposed project, and the risks of environmental pollution, the generation of graphite dusts, and waste mud cake resulting from the neutralization, flocculation, and dislodging of the wastewater, the proposed project was declared as a scheduled undertaking requiring an EIA license under Section 17 of the Environment Protection Act on 22nd of January 2024. The EIA application from the promoter was received at the Ministry of Environment, Solid Waste Management and Climate Change on 13th of March 2024. As per the application, the nearest residential area is 446 meters from the site. Moreover, the rivulet Mer Rouge estuary bird sanctuary, which is a Ramsar site, is located at around 344 meters. I am informed that following the public notice of 21st of March 2024, comments have been received, amongst others, from Mouvement Anti-Pollution and Plateforme Maurice l'Environnement, raising concerns regarding the implementation of the project on the proposed site. These comments have been forwarded to the promoters on 16th of April 2024 for their views, and same were received on 18th of June 2024. I am further informed that the views of the Ministry of Health and Wellness, the Ministry of Housing and Land Use Planning, the Ministry of Labour, Human Resource Development and Training, the Commissioner of Police, the Water Resources Unit, the Wastewater Management Authority, the Mauritius Sports Authority, the Geotechnical Unit, the Municipal Council of Port Louis, and the National Disaster Risk Reduction Management Center, amongst others, have been sought by the Ministry of Environment, Solid Waste Management and Climate Change. The promoter was requested to submit additional information on 30th of April 2024 and 31st of May 2024. The additional information has been received on 18th of June 2024. I am informed that the views of certain institutions are still awaited, namely from the Ministry of Labour, Human Resource Development and Training, the Commissioner of Police, the Dangerous Chemical Control Board, the Solid Waste Management Division, National Disaster Risk Reduction Management Center, National Environmental Laboratory, and Land Drainage Authority. Based on the additional information received from the promoter, the relevant authorities will be requested to send their final views and recommendations. Mr. Speaker, sir, I am informed that upon receipt of all views and recommendations from the authorities, a director review is drafted whereby the scale, scope, site of the project is described. Furthermore, all the possible environmental pollution that may occur are also clearly stipulated. The mitigating measures are emphasized. The director review also contains the proposed list of conditions that should be included in the EIA license in the eventuality that the project is positively recommended by the EIA committee. Mr. Speaker, sir, the application is still under process, as some authorities have still to provide their final views. It is only upon receipt of all views from these authorities that the application will be tabled to the EIA committee. Mr. Speaker, sir, as regards part D of the question, I am informed that as per the project proposal, the initial investment is to the tune of $50 million and is expected to create over 120 jobs directly and some 300 jobs indirectly. An annual turnover to the tune of $100 million is expected to be generated. Mr. Speaker, sir, let me reassure the Honorable Leader of the Opposition and the population at large that every single process and legal requirements will be strictly adhered to in considering a project of such complexity with environmental and societal risks. For any such project, the EIA clearance is the sine qua non condition for further consideration. We are, I can say, a responsible government, and we will act responsibly. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, it is precisely because we're all responsible and we want to act responsibly. And in the light of what Prime Minister has stated, and he has stated arguments, he has put across the arguments very forcefully. Can I impress upon Prime Minister? In the light of the hazardous substances and dangerous chemicals being used by the promoter, and the serious health and security risks that the proposed activities pose to the neighboring population, the factories and Ramsar site. Will the Prime Minister reassure the House, the country and the nation as a whole, that he will make sure that the activity is not carried out, that this project should be set aside and shelved?
Well, the leader of the opposition is saying that he impressed on me. I see the contrary. I've already impressed on him because my answer, he has commented on my answer, which is very clear, which has already indicated what are the issues that are going to be considered by the different stakeholders. But let me reassure the honorable leader of the opposition. Nous sommes un État de droit. Nous avons des lois. Lorsqu'il y a une application au niveau de l'Economic Development Board pour faire un projet, cette application doit suivre son cours. Il y a des ministères qui sont concernés, il y a des autorités, il y a des départements. Et dans ce cas, comme je viens d'expliquer, même si au préalable, nous, comme les personnes, nous avons des réserves, mais c'est aux techniciens, c'est aux experts de venir nous donner leur point de vue afin que nous puissions prendre une décision. Et dans ce cas, l'application est en train d'être examinée par les autorités concernées et bien sûr, l'autorité principale, comme je viens de dire, c'est le ministère de l'Environnement, le comité qui est en train d'étudier l'application pour un EIA. Je ne vais pas répéter tout ce que j'ai dit, on a des observations, on a des points de vue qui ont été soumis, et on a des éclaircissements qui ont été demandés de la part des promoteurs aussi, et les stakeholders sont en train de faire leur travail, et le comité va examiner tout ce qu'il y a en ce qui concerne les risques surtout, les risques de pollution, les risques environnementaux. Donc, allons laisser, j'espère que le leader de l'opposition va être d'accord, allons laisser les autorités, le comité faire son travail et faire éventuellement la recommandation pour que le gouvernement puisse prendre une décision.
Can I advise Prime Minister to, not advise, but can I Can I ask Prime Minister, and it's coming from deep within because I've talked to all stakeholders, that there's no need for the committee to entertain this project. Is the Prime Minister aware that in countries like Sweden, such installations are the proposed graphite refinery, which are constructed as per rigorous standards? They are constructed in areas which are 30 kilometers away from any residence. And much to the dismay of the population, the Prime Minister is saying that if this project is going to be entertained, it will be located in a strategic location where there are strategic assets and industries in the port.
Well, Mr. Speaker, sir, in Sweden, if it is 30 kilometers from any residential or any other area, who am I to be in a position to say whether it should be 30 kilometers? I don't know. It must be, I believe such activities are also being done in other countries. But again, it is not neither for me nor for the leader of the opposition to say what are the conditions, if ever, I say if ever, this project is to be entertained and to be approved, what are the conditions that will be imposed? It's not for us to say so. It will be for the experts, for the technical people to say whether it is going to be how many meters, how many kilometers, whether it's going to be 30 kilometers. If that is going to be the case, let's say, for argument's sake, let's say if it is going to be, it has to be 30 kilometers, then c'est un monnaie. It stands to reason that how can you have such an activity when you will require to have such activities within 30 kilometers from any, let's say, either residential, commercial, or industrial area. So let us leave it to the technical people, the committee. Once they make their recommendation, then we can maybe debate over a recommendation and eventually a decision that will be taken by government. Let me reassure the Honorable Leader of the Opposition. This activity was not even in any of the schedule of the Environment Protection Act. But, of course, the Honorable Minister of Environment has taken his responsibility, has assumed his responsibility, and he has requested that the applicant has to submit an application for an EIA. So the matter is being considered, and we'll leave the committee to do its work.
Prime Minister, and since he stated that it is not in the schedule of the Ministry of the Environment, can I ask him, why is it that in June 2023, in the annex to the budget, government proposed to amend the law and include as a new Freeport activity the very substance of this project?
That doesn't mean to say that an authorization is given. Mr. Speaker, sir, any proposed activity either to be done in the Freeport area or in the port area will have to go through series of clearances. One main clearance is from the environment point of view and EIA, and this is what is being done. So I hope you are not going to nous faire procès d'attention when I have clearly given you all the information with regard to what is being done for this application. Again, let me reassure the Honorable Leader of the Opposition that all the, let's say, risk factors will be taken into consideration by the committee when they are going to make their recommendation. And I think I've already given a cue. If you want me to go further, I've already given a cue. In my reply, I have given the view, the preliminary view of the Mauritius Ports Authority. So,
I don't know what the intention of government was, but can I remind Prime Minister that this was surreptitiously introduced in the finance bill, in the finance bill of 2023. The Section 57 and Section 34 of the Freedom of the Freeport Act was amended to make of the proposed project of Nexus a new free port activity. That's what was done. Now, can I ask Prime Minister to revisit his policy? Because the intention of government was clear, and it was inserted in the budget. So the intention is clear. Cannot Prime Minister state clearly that this government is not going to go ahead with this project? Otherwise, you're condemning yourself.
Monsieur le Président, le leader de l'opposition ne comprend pas ce que je viens d'expliquer. When you asked your question, I did not interrupt or make any comment. I hope you will also be polite to allow me to reply to your question? Yes. So, je viens d'expliquer que nous avons une procédure. Quand il y a une application, une demande pour une activité économique au niveau de l'Economic Development Board. So we have to treat, and especially they are foreign investors. So we have to treat them in the same manner that we treat everybody. When their application is being considered, that doesn't mean to say that it is being approved. I hope I can make this point clear to the Honorable Leader of the Opposition. An application is being considered, all stakeholders will give their views. Once the views are taken into consideration and recommendation is being made, I want to be simple, try to make it simple, because I think it is difficult for the Leader of the Opposition to understand. Once the views are sent and the committee will look at all the views of the stakeholders, the committee will make a recommendation to the Honorable Minister of Environment. And the Honorable Minister of Environment has no obligation also to go according to the recommendation. It will be looked at his level, at the level of government, and a decision, of course, will have to be taken. I hope I can't be clearer than that.
Time over. Thank you very much. Question to Prime Minister. I now call Honorable Rumia.
B444, please.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I refer to my replies to private notice questions of 15th and 29th of June 2022, respectively, wherein I stated that the Commissioner of Police had informed that in the aftermath of the video clips about alleged police brutality released on social media during the month of May 2022, cases of police brutality were reported by certain persons. Accordingly, 3 cases of alleged brutality were reported against officers of the Mer Rouge Central Investigation Division, CID, as follows. On Saturday, 28th of May 2022, 1. Mr. JCJPL, age 34, self-employed and residing at Goodlands, reported at Piton Police Station in the presence of his counsels that in the year 2019, he was arrested by personnel of Mer Rouge CID in connection with the case of larceny, and that during his interrogation, he was allegedly tortured by means of a taser gun and forced to confess the case of larceny. The second case was reported on Tuesday, 31st of May 2022 by Mrs. M.A.J., handy worker residing at Bejutombo, to the effect that her son DJ was arrested on 27th of December 2018 by officers of the Mer Rouge CID in a case of murder, and he was allegedly tortured by 4 police officers. And the third case was reported on Monday, 6th of June 2022 by Mr. K.S., age 29, stonemason, residing at Arsenal, who stated that on 1st of February 2020, he was arrested by a team from CID Mer Rouge for unknown reasons and was brought to the Mer Rouge CID office, where he was allegedly assaulted with a device that discharged electric shock. Mr. KS also informed that he had already reported the case to the Independent Police Complaints Commission, IPCC, in the year 2020. Mr. Speaker, sir, I am informed by the Commissioner of Police that in the case of Mr. JCJPL, in view of the seriousness of the offense, the CCID took over the case for an in-depth investigation. Subsequently, on Monday, 30th of May 2022, CCID arrested 3 police officers in connection with the case, namely Inspector HD, Police Sergeant PR, and Police Constable KG. And they were detained in police cell. With regard to the case of Mr. DJ, the initial inquiry revealed that the 3 police officers, namely Inspector HD, Police Sergeant PR, and Police Constable KG, who were already detained, as well as Police Constable EBP, posted to CID Mer Rouge, were involved in the case. On 31st of May 2022, Inspector HD, Police Sergeant PR, and Police Constable KG were provisionally charged with the offense of torture by public official in breach of Section 78 of the Criminal Code before the District Court of Pamplemousse. Police objected to their release on bail, and they were remanded to police cell up to Tuesday, 7th of June 2022. On Thursday, 2nd of June 2022, Police Sergeant PR and Police Constable KG were interdicted from duty. As regards Inspector HD, he was already under interdiction since 20th of August 2021 in connection with the case of bribery by public officials being investigated by the Financial Crimes Commission, that is the former ICA. On 6th of June 2022, Police Constable EBP was also arrested in the case, and on the same day, he was provisionally charged with the offense of torture by public official before the District Court of Pamplemousse. Police objected to his release on bail, and he was remanded to police cell up to 14th of June 2022. He was interdicted from duty on 10th of June 2022. As for the case of KS, on Tuesday, 7th of June 2022, Inspector HD, Police Sergeant PR, and Police Constable KG appeared anew before the District Court of Pamplemousse. They were remanded to police cell up to 14th of June 2022. On 7th of June 2022, pursuant to Section 10(2)(b) of the Independent Police Complaints Commission Act of 2016, the 3 cases of alleged torture were referred by the police to IPCC for continuation of the inquiry. Subsequently, on Tuesday, 14th of June 2022, Inspector HD, Police Sergeant PR, and Police Constable KG appeared before the District Court of Pamplemousse anew. Their counsels made a motion for their release on bail, and the bail hearing was fixed for Friday, 17th of June 2022. On that day, the representative of the IPCC did not object to their release on bail. They were subsequently granted bail after having furnished a surety of 20,000 rupees and entered into a recognizance in the sum of 100,000 rupees each. As regards Police Constable EBP, he appeared before the District Court of Pamplemousse anew on Thursday, 16th of June 2022. His counsel made a motion for his release on bail, and the representative of the IPCC did not object to his release. He was subsequently granted bail after having furnished a surety of 20,000 rupees and entered into a recognizance in the sum of 100,000 rupees. Mr. Speaker, sir, I am informed by the IPCC that in accordance with Section 16(1)(b)(1) of the IPCC Act, after completion of investigation, the Commission referred the case of Mr. JCJPL to the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions on 7th of December 2022, with the recommendation that the 4 police officers involved be prosecuted for the offense of assault in breach of Section 231 of the Criminal Code and for the offense of violence by public officer in breach of Section 86 of the Criminal Code. On 7th of April 2023, the DPP requested the IPCC to proceed with further investigation. Thereafter, on 23rd April 2024, after further investigation, the IPCC referred the case anew to the Office of the DPP, which on 7th of June 2024 advised prosecution against Inspector Chedi and Police Sergeant PR for the offense of assault in breach of Section 231 of the Criminal Code and for the offense of violence by public officer in breach of Section 86 of the Criminal Code, and recommended disciplinary proceedings against Police Constable B and Police Constable KG. Mr. Speaker, sir, with regard to Mr. DJ, the case was referred by IPCC to the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions on 19th of January 2023, with the recommendation that 5 police officers involved be prosecuted for the offense of assault in breach of Section 231 of the Criminal Code and for the offense of violence by public officer in breach of Section 86 of the Criminal Code. On 2nd of February and 14th of July 2023, the DPP requested further investigations into the case, following which, on 20th February 2024, the IPCC referred the case file to the DPP, who has now informed that the case is under consideration. Mr. Speaker, sir, with regard to the case of Mr. KS, I am informed by the DPP that between 22nd of June 2022 and 23rd of November 2022, there were exchanges between the Office of the DPP and the IPCC. Following further investigations by the IPCC, the Commission referred the case file to the Office of the DPP on 9th of May 2023. The DPP advised prosecution against 6 police officers for violence by public officer in breach of Section 86 of the Criminal Code and for the offense of assault with aggravating circumstance in breach of Section 228(1) of the Criminal Code. On 27th of June 2023, an information bearing cause number 4430/23 was lodged against the 6 police officers before the District Court of Pamplemousse. On 29th August 2023, they pleaded not guilty. Thereafter, on 11th of September 2023, the case against the 6 police officers was fixed for trial for the 16th of April 2024. And on that date, the trial was postponed to 8th August 2024 and 12th August 2024. Mr. Speaker, sir, I am additionally informed by the Commissioner of Police that on Wednesday, 30th of December 2020, a USB stick which allegedly contained video recordings of police brutality was remitted to the police. On Wednesday, 6th of January 2021, the USB stick in sealed cover was remitted to Mr. R.K., former Assistant Superintendent of Police, posted to CCID, who was directed to immediately initiate an inquiry. On Wednesday, 1st of June 2022, the Commissioner of Police set up a special inquiry team to carry out an exhaustive inquiry into the unreasonable delay in the follow-up actions after the remittance of the USB stick to Mr. R.K. Subsequently, on 8th August 2022, the team forwarded a report to the Commissioner of Police on the outcome of the inquiry, whereby it was observed, amongst others, that Mr. R.K. had failed to properly handle the inquiry on the USB stick. In view thereof, and following consultation with the DPP, disciplinary action was initiated against Mr. R.K. under Regulation 37 of the Discipline Forces Service Commission Regulations 1997, and he was retired from the Mauritius Police Force in public interest on 21st of October 2022. Mr. Speaker, sir, I am informed by the Commissioner of Police that, with a view to empowering police officers to exercise their duties effectively while safeguarding the rights of persons in their custody, the following measures have been taken to prevent recurrence of police brutality. Since 2019 to date, some 3,227 police officers have been provided with training on human rights principles, principles of policing in a democratic state, stress management, and other protocols on detention. CCTV cameras have been installed in police stations, and the footages are viewed regularly by station managers to uphold discipline. Scientific-led investigation is being enhanced to improve the investigative skills of police officers to carry out inquiries in a more professional and systematic manner. Accountability has been increased at all levels with regard to the movements of detainees whilst they are in police custody. Senior police officers are exercising their powers under Section 12 of the Bail Act to release detainees on parole on a case-to-case basis and to avoid unnecessary detention. Police officers departing from established procedures, particularly care and treatment and safe custody of detainees, are subject to disciplinary or criminal proceedings. And sensitization and information campaigns are organized by the Independent Police Complaints Commission in the police department to sensitize new recruits and newly promoted officers. Mr. Speaker, sir, the measures implemented by police up to now have had a significant positive impact on the performance and conduct of our police officers, as evidenced by a decline in reported cases of police brutality in recent years. This trend underscores the commitment of my government to ensure that law enforcement agencies operate diligently, ethically, and with respect for human rights. I wish to emphasize once again that my government has consistently condemned any form of human rights violation, including acts of torture or degrading treatment committed by any member of law enforcement agencies. Any deviation will be dealt with swiftly to uphold justice and accountability. By upholding these principles and implementing effective and continuous training programs, we strive to foster a culture within our police force that prioritizes professionalism, ethical conduct, and the protection of human dignity. Our ongoing efforts aim to build trust and confidence between law enforcement agencies and the communities they serve, ensuring that justice is pursued in a manner that respects and upholds the rights of every individual. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Prime Minister. May I ask the Honorable Prime Minister whether the Discipline Forces Service Commission has so far taken any sanctions against those who were being prosecuted by the DPP, likewise as it has done for ASP K, who was also involved in that case under Regulation 37 of 1997.
Well, the police will act according to the advice of the DPP. So if in a case it has been recommended that the matter is pursued by proffering formal charges whereby there have been any criminal offenses, then there are formal charges that are preferred, and eventually, of course, the case goes before a court for trial. But there, I have mentioned in my reply that there has been also instances where there is a recommendation for disciplinary actions to be taken, and therefore this has been also the case, and we have seen, as I mentioned, what has been the outcome. And let me say, in the case of the Assistant Superintendent of Police, whereby it was reproached that he did not take immediate action and therefore had to be retired. Let me say that that person had also sought remedy before the court to contest this retirement, and the case was dismissed, and therefore, well, that shows that the right decision was taken also.
Thank you, Speaker. Can the Honorable Prime Minister state the number of cases of police brutality reported at police station between two different periods, one for 2005 to 2009 and 2014 to 2024 periods.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, sir, I think it is good for me to provide statistics because I have said in my reply there has been a major improvement. And let me give the figures. So in 2005, 217 cases, 2006, 183 cases, 2007, 203 cases, 2008, 290 cases, 2009, 256 cases. Now, 2014, 33 cases, 2015, 23 cases, 2016, 27 cases, 2017, 19 cases, 2018, 25 cases, 2019, 35 cases, 2020, 31 cases, 2021, 25 cases, 2022, 16 cases, 2023, 21 cases, and 2024, as at June, 20th of June, 2 cases only. Now, ceci dit, Monsieur le Président, one case is too many already, because as I've said, we as a government, we are not going to condone any act of police brutality. But from these statistics, we can clearly see that the actions, the measures that have been taken by the police, I have detailed them, has brought results. But of course, we need to improve further on this.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. Ce que je pourrais demander au Premier ministre, s'il a des informations auprès du commissaire de police concernant les teaser guns qui furent utilisés. Est-ce que ces teaser guns furent utilisés dans un contexte que ces teaser guns a été saisi et non pas déclaré? Car selon mes informations, la station de police de Mer Rouge n'est pas un armory, office police armory. Merci.
Well, Mr. Speaker, sir, this question relates to the cases that have been reported to the police and to eventually IPCC, and what actions have been taken. That is where we are, which I have replied. Now, the honorable member is asking a very different and very specific question about a taser. Of course, I will need notice, and I can assure the honorable member that when he puts his question, I will provide him and the House with all the information. But I cannot right now, just from my head, just give any reply. Although I am aware about the circumstances that has led to the arrest of the in the first case, those officers. But I will need the notice of that question.
Thank you, Speaker, sir. Can Honorable Prime Minister inform the House as to the number of cases that have been, number of alleged cases of police brutality that have been reported at the IPCC and since its inception, and the outcome thereon? Thank you, Mr.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, sir, I am informed that since its inception on 9th of April 2018 up to 20th of June 2024, the Independent Police Complaints Commission has been dealing with 4,229 complaints of alleged police brutality, including 277 former cases from the defunct Police Complaints Division of the National Human Rights Commission. Investigation has been completed in 2,375 of those cases, The remaining 1,854 complaints are still under investigation. I am further informed that with regard to the 2,375 cases where investigation have been completed, 445 complaints have been withdrawn by complainants, 232 complaints have been settled by conciliation meetings conducted by the Commission, 7 complaints have been referred to the Discipline Forces Commission for disciplinary action to be initiated against police officers concerned. 48 cases have been referred to the Director of Public Prosecutions for advice, out of which 17 cases were lodged in court. 1 case has been dismissed and the remaining 16 are still at the court's level, and 1,643 complaints have been disposed of after investigation and in line with Section 10(4) of the IPCC Act of 2016.
The table has been advised that PQD 445 will be replied by the Honorable Attorney General, Minister of Foreign Affairs, Regional Integration and International Trade. The following questions have been withdrawn: B445, B446, B447. I now call Honorable Ganga Prasad.
B450.
Mr. Speaker, sir, in my reply to the private notice question on the 5th December 2023, I informed the House that the mode of assessment for the extended program was being reviewed so as to introduce the school-based assessment in the evaluation structure as from the academic year 2024. Accordingly, Mr. Speaker, sir, as from this year, the award criteria for the National Certificate of Education Extended Program has been amended to include this school-based assessment component. The school-based assessment will be conducted by educators, monitored and moderated by the MES. Technical committees under the leadership of the MES have devised tasks and activities subject-wise for implementation by educators. The evaluation of candidates will be based on these activities. The school-based assessment will carry a weighting of 40%, while 60% of the marks will be based on the end-of-year written assessment for NCE. The criteria for grading is as per the annual program of this year.
May I ask the Honorable Minister, given that educators working with extended program students received their booklet only a few days ago, and they have to prepare the EP students for the school-based assessment, when we know that candidates have to devote 2 terms on their project, aren't we penalizing the present 2024 cohort EP students by tardily asking them to prepare for their school-based project only a few weeks before the end of the term?
Mr. Speaker, sir, the teachers have already been briefed and there were training sessions carried out in April this year. And the school-based assessment is based on practicals and has a continuous assessment process. So teachers have already been engaged in the process earlier. The documents that have been submitted are certain guidelines, certain specimen papers, etc. But the students are being taken care of, and there are no projects for end of year. It's a project that is being done ongoing all the time, and teachers are supposed to be assessing the competencies and the learning outcomes of the student. The school-based assessment is based on learning outcomes, on students' ability to show their critical thinking, and so on and so forth. So the teachers, educators have been made aware a long time back, and they were trained earlier, Mr. Speaker.
May I ask the Honorable Minister to explain how come both the extended program students and the mainstream students who sit for the same NC DT550 end of year exams be now assessed differently. That is, the EP students will have an additional school-based assessment apart from the end of year assessment for the final grading. Why this additional pressure on these EP students?
Mr. Speaker, sir, the very idea of bringing in a school-based component is to manage to gauge the competencies developed by the students during their schooling. The written paper is the same and has always been the same. Students having passed their EP at NCEP will get an NCEP certificate. Other students, the NC students, will carry on with the written exam only. This additional component is not to make their life more difficult, but to give them the possibility of demonstrating the competencies, skills, and knowledge acquired during their schooling.
Next question. B452.
Mr. Speaker, sir, the House will recall that on 21st of July 2020, my colleague, the then Minister of Foreign Affairs, Regional Integration and International Trade, informed the House that the government of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia had agreed to donate $6 million to Mauritius for the purpose of building of new mosques and renovation of existing mosques. Subsequently, at the sitting of 6 April 2021, my colleague, the then Minister of Foreign Affairs, Regional Integration and International Trade, also informed the House that the Saudi authorities are considering to coordinate with the local stakeholders in Mauritius to determine the nature of the assistance needed by the various mosques before coming up with an appropriate memorandum of understanding. Thereafter, the Mauritian side put forward the proposal for the Islamic Cultural Center to set up a foundation, and a draft MOU was submitted to the Saudi authorities. I wish to inform the House that in June 2022, the Saudi government dispatched an interministerial delegation to Mauritius to conduct a visual assessment of the requirements of the mosques. According to information obtained by our embassy in Riyadh, the report of the said Saudi delegation was finalized and its recommendations submitted to the Royal Court in Saudi Arabia for approval. In March 2023, our embassy in Riyadh requested for an update on the disbursement of the earmarked funds in a series of meetings with high-level Saudi officials. On 7th April 2023, the Royal Consulate of Saudi Arabia in Mauritius sought for an update from my ministry on the status of internal consultations with other relevant stakeholders in Mauritius in view of signing of the MOU on the grant. The House will note that following consultations with the relevant ministries in Mauritius, a revised draft MOU establishing the modus operandi for the disbursement of the funds was prepared and submitted to the Saudi authorities in October 2023. On 14th December 2023, the Royal Consulate of Saudi Arabia in Mauritius submitted an amendment to the draft MOU, and following the latest consultation between Mauritius and the Saudi authorities as recently as May of this year, we are hopeful to see a positive development. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Sir, may I know from the Honourable Attorney General whether there is any timeline for the finalization of that memorandum of understanding between the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and the government of Mauritius?
Difficult for me at this stage to set a timeline, Mr. Speaker, sir. I have set out already the chronology. We are proceeding in bilateral discussion with the Saudi authorities, especially concerning the modus operandi for the disbursement of the funds. Le principe est acquis, Monsieur le Président, but we need the MOU concerning the disbursements.
Previous answers to PQs in this House, the government has been consistent that they are proposing the setting up of a foundation under the aegis of the Islamic Cultural Center
to monitor the implementation of any funds that is going to be received from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Is that still the plan, to set up a foundation, or is there another mechanism for the disbursement of funds that is being envisaged?
Mr. Speaker, sir, I have informed the House that Mauritius had submitted a revised draft to the Saudi authorities in October 2023, following which the Saudi authorities in December proposed an amendment to the MOU. I do not want at this stage to disclose the contents of the bilateral negotiations.
The table has been advised that issue B482 will be replied by Honorable Minister of National Infrastructure and Community Development. PQ B459, B477, B487, and B455 have been withdrawn. Still some minutes to go. I call Honorable Labin.
B453, please.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm informed by the Municipal Council of Vaka Phoenix that cleaning and sweeping of the Vaka Fair are effected on weekdays and on fair days, that is on Tuesdays and Fridays, and waste generated thereat are carried away either on the same day or on the following day. Presently, there are 4 general workers posted at the Vaka Fair from 7 a.m. in the morning to 16 hours in the afternoon, and they have been assigned the task of cleaning and sweeping of the Vaka Fair and its surrounding, including the parking space. I'm further informed that thorough washing of the market of the Vaka Fair is effected every 3 months, and same was effected on the 22nd of January 2024 and 29th of April 2024. The last exercise was done on the 8th of June 2024 by a private contractor. Besides, rodent control service are effected by a private service contractor, Mr. Pest Limited, on a twice monthly basis. The rodent control service was effected on the 29th of May 2024 at the Vaka Fair, and the last one was carried out on the 12th of June 2024. I'm informed that the following action are being envisaged by the Council for the enhancement of the hygienic condition at the Vaka Fair. Firstly, presently, bids received for the purchase of a high-pressure washer is being evaluated, and this will increase the frequency of washing by its in-house labor. And secondly, the frequency of rodent control service will also be increased in the next financial year.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Speaker. May I ask the Honorable Vice Prime Minister whether he is aware of complaints received by users of the Vaka Market Fair with regards to proliferation of rats and mice, even after works carried out after the 12th of June by the contractor?
Yes, I mean, I don't know, I've not received anything specific like that, but I've just mentioned we are going to increase the frequency of rodent control service. I mean, we're just waiting by next week or the week after, we'll try to do that.
Yes, please. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Is the Honorable Vice Prime Minister aware that all those rats, mice, and rodents, in fact, is coming from the Bear State Lens, just adjacent to the Vaka Market Fair? Lens that was allocated to do parking spaces for the Vaka Market Fair. Is he aware of that?
Mr. Speaker, sir, the sum of 3.959 million, that is nearly 4 million rupees, was used for cleaning of all the plots of land, including those pulled down of the pulling down of the abandoned building took place in the vicinity of the market fair, and this has been completed. So we know there may be a problem, and money has been spent on the cleaning, Mr. Speaker, and we are keeping an eye on that as well.
So, Honourable Member, I'll be suspending the